Rule number 1,
Bios.
always right. Rule number 2, nothing else matters because
Bios
is always right.
Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we are reacting to what's the name of the video here? We are reacting to This Isn't the Game I Fell in Love With, Overwatch 2 by Khai Shinryu. Hi, Logical. Khai Shinryu. Khai Shinryu. Yeah. So in this video, I've already watched it. In this video, he basically talks about a lot of problems going on with Overwatch 2. If you don't know what Overwatch 2 is, it's one of the biggest PvP hero shooters on the market right now, made by Blizzard. And it's been out for nearly 10 years now. And it has had a lot of issues. I used to play Overwatch 2 a ton, and I've quit because of the issues. And as far as the conversation around Overwatch and what can be done to make it better, there really hasn't been any positive insight from the community or streamers. It just kind of feels like, I don't even know, it's just an entire mess. But this video really does put things into a proper perspective, in my opinion, and we're going to review it today. Okay, so once again, all right, guys. So this video I found maybe like a week or so ago now. When did it come out? Oh, 4 days ago. 4 days ago? It feels like it's been like 2 weeks. Okay, time is flying. Okay, so I found this video, and a lot of the things that I've been saying about Overwatch, I just feel like it just wasn't being emulated in the community. Like, it just feels like it's a lot of, oh, we don't want 6v6, and this is not the problem. Healers are the problem. This is like a bunch of stuff that I just feel like was just not targeting the actual issues of Overwatch, and no one had any really inclusive like opinions, like things that'll actually make a difference. So this guy I found, his name is Khai Shinryu, and he basically puts it all down. Like, if I were to do a video, it would be like this. But it's not really because I agree with most of the opinions. It's mostly because it's like I really genuinely feel like this is what's going on. So we're gonna react to it, we're gonna review it. So enjoy. Then we're going to watch the Nintendo Direct. Oh, and also, I have a second channel. My second channel is One Day with Alix. It will be appearing on the screen somewhere. Be sure to subscribe. It is my vlog channel. Okay, let's start. Let me know if you guys have any audio issues or whatever.
Overwatch 2 just isn't the game I fell in love with. I first started playing Overwatch during its first open beta on PS4. I didn't like it at the time, but my friend insisted that it would be amazing at launch. Once the game officially released, I gave it another shot. My friend and I met a few others while grinding out levels in order to unlock the competitive mode, and that became our consistent 6-stack. Prior to this, I had only ever played Call of Duty, Battlefield, or Halo casually, so this was the first time I jumped into a ranked mode for an FPS. At the time, we didn't have the traditional Bronze to Grandmaster rankings, but instead it was a numerical rank from 1 to 100, 1 being the worst and 100 being the best. I was a group support player, playing mostly Lucio, but when we weren't playing in a 6-stack, I learned to flex onto the tank role as well. Reinhardt
Oh, there goes Rook. Okay.
and Zarya being my go-to choices. We were able to reach around high 70s, low 80s, which was around high masters and low GM. But back then, you never saw anyone higher than 85 aside from literally 2 or 3 people. Our DPS player was actually one of the first people to get top 500, with the old icon being a white bar and a gold ranked icon in the middle.
Quality here.
Most people don't even remember that icon because it was so long ago and it was only there for the first competitive season. I was obsessed with grinding rank and getting better. I remember watching the OGN Apex tournaments in Korea hosted by Monty and Doa, and seeing Team Envious versus Lunatic High. Our 6-stack pulled all-nighters, stream sniping, and Q dodging teams. It was one of the greatest gaming experiences I've ever had. Season 5 rolls around, and this was when some of our 6-stack moved to PC. Unfortunately for me at the time, I couldn't afford a PC, so I stayed on console and played on alt accounts with my friends, who were in the metal ranks. Eventually, Overwatch 2 dropped. I finally moved to PC, where I hovered around Diamond and Masters for tank and support respectively. There are a lot of conversations and debates regarding the strength of tank synergies and how they affected all levels of play, claiming that they were overpowered. As someone who spent a lot of time playing at the average ranks with friends, this is not true. During Open Queue, many players were already set that 2-2-2 was the most optimal composition.
So there was if you guys have played Overwatch since the beginning, like if you remember, um tanks being overpowered. And like you said, it wasn't true. Tanks at the time was balanced, but he does get into why people started feeling that they were overpowered. Shield meta, like Riker says, is part of the problem, or was part of the problem. And I could literally vividly remember talking about like when like Orisa and Sigma came out, and I was like, okay, Orisa could lose the shield, keep the bongo, and then she would be fine. But then Sigma came out, and then they gave him another shield instead of being more creative with his graphs to like capture bullets or something and reflect that at the enemy. I remember having these conversations, and then all these complaints started happening. On God, tanks were OP. They were not. Is somebody trying to match my? Hi, Jay Brown. All right, let's continue.
Anytime that there was more than 2 tanks, one of the quote-unquote extra tank players would switch off and play either DPS or support. Tank-heavy comps like Quad Tank and Goats were rarely ever run because of this, and when it was ran, it was only when AoE healing supports were added later, especially because most players at this
I don't
level
imagine
loved playing Ana Moira, a support comp that pumped out a lot of healing but lacked the utility required from Lucio to actually help the tank-heavy compositions in engagements and disengagements. This misconception of tanks being the problem was only valid when Orisa and Sigma were added to the game, because these heroes were fundamentally more well-equipped to cover their own weaknesses rather than having 2 tanks having niche strengths and covering each other's weaknesses. But even then, the real source of tanks being unkillable in Overwatch 1 were the support heroes that were added after the game's launch, namely Moira, Brigitte, and Baptiste, on top of the overly kitted tanks. This was around the time where I stopped playing altogether.
Like, if you guys remember, like, you would literally have, you guys would know this comp that they would run a lot in competitive in the Overwatch scene, where they would have Bastion, Sigma, Orisa, Baptiste, and whatever other support, a soldier and whatever, all up in a little corner, freaking, like, all bunkered up, and you could not, it was one of the most ugliest things you've ever seen. And people were like, why does Blizzard just stick with these freaking shields? And on top of that, Brig was a problem. She was. I freaking went from what did I remember I have a video on it with Brig. I almost hit Masters with her, or I did hit Masters with her in one night when she came out. As fun as she was, and it really felt good to hit back at Genji and Tracer, the girl was overtuned. She was. But let's continue.
I loved playing Reinhardt and being able to outskill the enemy team, even when they ran counters, including Orisa. Nothing felt more satisfying than facing off in a Rein mirror, beating your counterpart, watching them switch to Orisa, and still losing. Until Orisa was buffed and Sigma could do everything. At this point, Orisa and Sigma started getting more value than Reinhardt, with less effort, and I just didn't find it fun anymore. Sounds familiar to today's issues with counter swapping, doesn't it? That's the real reason why tank queues were always instant. My ability and skill expression were reduced in favor of stronger tanks at the skill floor, and I just did not want to play them.
Facts. Bastion Ori was also used in 3v3, 4v4 elims as well back then. That's disgusting. Same with payload. Mass Bastion was set on the payload with Ori's shield in front of, and no one was set. Yeah. I think one of the only ways to get through it is if you had like a sim to burn down the shields, or TP behind it, or you just mirror comp.
As I briefly mentioned Orisa and Sigma's fundamentally flawed hero design, this would continue to be the case for the support heroes that were added later, all of which shared one thing in common: AoE healing and how easily it was to dish out that healing. During the release of Brig, I was a Rein player. For those of you who were there, you know exactly what this meant.
XQC getting stunned like 8 times. All the CC.
Brig was able to shield bash me with practically no cost whatsoever. The same goes for her healing. All I had to do was proc Inspire and be the team's anchor, and the amount of healing she would do for free was insane. But to be completely fair, the average rank was really bad with her. Many of you at this rank have probably seen Brig players that bash in, use all their cooldowns, frontline, and then do the slow retreat of shame while spamming for heals. They still do this now in Overwatch 2. Even though most players were really bad at playing her, this doesn't take away the fact that her kit was overtuned and she got an incredible value at all ranks for relatively low risk. This was the
I mean, the thing that he said about Brig's proc, I remember a bunch of like Overwatch streamers and stuff just talking about, oh, to be good with Brig, just land your thing. And then you have, you know, free healing because it's just please this free frame. So yeah, so Brig would just get her proc and then she's just healing. They like you said, they still do that now. Briggs would just sit somewhere and just wait to like hit somebody just so they can keep Inspire active. There wasn't really much risk to it as long as you hit something, which is not a problem in and of itself, but because of the amount of how many characters can do the same thing, it's kind of like there's no creativity here and no counterplay.
case for Moira and Baptiste as well, both of which were able to pump.
Hold on. Okay, Gabby gifted a sub to Furious Jeff. Fatuous? But Fatuous? Thank you for the gifted sub. Fatuous. Come on. Your wife can't read. Oh my god, Logical just subscribe. Oh my god, guys. Wow. Oh my god, you guys activated the hype train? What? I have never seen. You'll have limited time to earn exclusive emotes. Oh my god, what? I've never gotten that before. Thank you so much. Level 1 hype train. Wow. Oh, okay. That's interesting. I really don't know how that works. Thank you again. Okay, let's continue.
Pump out large amounts of AoE healing with very little drawback, as well as Bap's Immortality Field, where you could just throw it around a corner and you wouldn't have to think about disengaging. You could simply sit there, get super healed, and not have to think. Lucio has AoE healing, but the output was very low. The trade-off for this, though, was that he had the option to speed his team. Ana's nade did burst AoE healing, but that left her vulnerable for a dive if she used it improperly. So yes, while Orisa and Sigma...
Okay, so get this with Ana right now, right? So what he just said, Ana's nade, when she used it, it would leave her vulnerable, but to compensate, she has her sleep. If she can land it, which is still technically kind of skillful. The thing about it now, I think I saw in the late today or yesterday's
nostalgia, Craigasm.
In the last video that they did for the upcoming season, the freaking Overwatch community, let me see, it was SK, Emong, and someone else. They like did a community mode that's like did some changes. They brought back Scatter Arrow and whatever else. They gave Ana Baptiste jump. Why? Like, why? So Ana could now jump from the low ground to high ground, and she could basically just... We don't know how it exactly works, but I'm just assuming if it does work like Baptiste, she can jump out of danger, which is like completely against the whole point of her kit and how to deal with her. If you give all these characters more survivability and they cannot die, or it makes it harder for them to die, you're purposely making the game more unfun and unbalanced. There has to be a give and a take. That's where skill comes in. What can the honor player do to survive in this situation if she didn't land her nade properly or she didn't land her sleep? You can't just be like, oh, here's an ability to just jump away. That was the problem with Hanzo. Another problem with Hanzo. He would just now he can just hop away from the situation. So let's continue. You're creating the biggest. Wait, also, am I reading the stream title right? Reacting to an actually sane Overwatch player. Then, yeah. Oh, Destiny? Anyways.
Were problematic, they would not be nearly as much of an issue had it not been for the support hero design on top of their own overtuned kit. All of these points being a balance and design issue, not a format issue. I have never heard a single time where players wanted a tank to be removed in order to solve the overpowered tank problem. So I genuinely do not understand why people make the correlation of 6v6 being the reason for why metas like double shield were relevant. This could have been easily solvable through balance, and I know that is a term that gets thrown around very freely. However, every tank prior to Orisa and Sigma typically had one way to mitigate or deny damage. Orisa and Sigma had two. Orisa having both a shield and fortify, while Sigma also had a shield and grasp, reducing the need to cover for each other's weaknesses and being more self-sufficient, leading them to become super tanks. Had tanks like Ramatra and Junker Queen been released during Overwatch 1, they would have been able to run over double shield easily. So to wrap up this point, yes, Orisa and Sigma were overtuned, but what really made them impressive were the AoE healing supports that made them immortal.
So like he said right here, what? So yeah, so what he said there with like the issues with oh my god, I forgot what he said. Oh, so yeah, what he said there when it comes to like people talking about how 6v6 is just not an option, that is absolutely crazy to me. Why can't 6v6 be an option? I hear a lot of streamers, content creators talk like literally say that. They're like, "Oh, um it was like they're like, "Oh, no, 6v6 can't come back. Let it go. You have rose-colored glasses on." Da, da. It's like, "Why? Why are you ruling out an option that can save the game?" I don't understand it. It's like, oh, we don't want 6v6 because of double shields. The only reason why people even accepted 5v5 was to see what Blizzard would do to like actually try to balance this freaking game. But it made things worse. So therefore, how about you guys actually do the work, go back to 6v6, fix the tanks, fix the healing, and the damage, like I've always been saying, and let's see where the game is at. Crazy? Does a sane Overwatch player want to join two degenerates? Oh, me? Oh no, I'm healing.
Rein, Zarya, Winston, Diva, Orisa, Hog. These were the tank synergies that many players from Overwatch 1 know by heart. Rein Zarya was ran very often in metal ranks, not because it was broken, but because the combo was fun. The same goes for Winston and Diva. Coordinating dives and peeling each other for a disengage, that was fun. Orisa halting squishies and Hog hooking them was also kinda fun in a sick and twisted way. Just because these synergies found success doesn't mean they were oppressive. There were many instances where my team would run Rein Zarya and we would lose to comps like Hog Winston or Zarya Hog. There were even times during open queue where I would be the solo tank as Reinhardt and the enemy team would lock Orisa Hog, Bastion, Mei, and I was still able to perform well. Not because the role itself was overpowered, but because I looked for opportunities in the enemy team's playstyle that left them vulnerable in order to get value.
Like exactly that. Like like you said, the Orisa Hog combo was fun. Orisa Hog, Winston Diva. Okay, I still remember to this day. Beyond and Chazzy running it with Winston Diva. Running it. The best time of their freaking life. Me, Zarya Reinhardt. Zarya Reinhardt any day or Zarya Hog, whatever. Any day. Who Anyways, but yeah, that's basically the point. Is those combos were fun. Did that mean that those tanks were broken? No. Can y'all be mature? Come on. I'm trying to make a point here. On God, but I think so yeah, so I pretty much agree with what he's saying here.
I didn't even have to be the superstar. I just looked for ways to set my team up for team fights. So even when the enemy team would run tank synergies to counter, the game was all down to execution and skill expression. This is what I loved about Overwatch.
Let me get it together.
Now, in Overwatch 2, since there's only one tank, the role had to be given insanely high stats to compensate for being the main target of CC and damage. Being a solo tank, I had to readjust and relearn the role, just like everyone else. I can no longer play hyper aggressively like I used to in Overwatch 1, but I had to be smarter with where I took fights. However, very soon after, I learned that this playstyle started bleeding into every other tank, and it all ended up boiling down to be everywhere at the same time while also not dying. This just isn't fun. A few seasons later, and I completely dropped playing tank because no matter what I did, my team would always blame me as the tank. It just wasn't fun. I started playing only support, and as someone who started out as a support main in Overwatch 1, this is going to rub a lot of support players the wrong way. But the support role is 100 times easier and less stressful in Overwatch 2. Sure, there was Season 1 where tanks were literally running over supports, but since then, the role has gotten so many buffs and quality of life changes, it has become far easier to get value for doing less. The amount of times where an enemy DPS would flank me while I was on BAP, I wouldn't even have to look at them. I continued healing my team, popping Immortality Field and Regen Burst because I knew the DPS wouldn't be able to kill me.
Can we hear that again? Let me play what he just said again for the people in the back when it comes to freaking Baptiste, bro. Let's play it again.
Flanked me while I was on BAP, I wouldn't even have to look at them. I continued healing my team, popping Immortality Field and Regen Burst because I knew the DPS wouldn't be able to kill me. Kiriko having the most broken abilities and
Freaking Baptiste Kiriko, like, dude, ever since Baptiste was announced, what is wrong with you, Blizzard? Like, giving him an immortality on. And then he has regenerative burst. Not only does he have regenerative burst, it gives him AoE healing. And not only that, his healing shots are also AoE. And not only that, he has a jump away, a disengage. That is not on an ability cooldown, but just something he can charge up. He can do a mini jump, and it will still keep him alive. Baptiste players, literally, you shoot them, they don't care because they know they can get away. They know you cannot kill them. And then when you leave, that's when they shoot you. And he does good damage. What are you talking about? Like, what do you mean? Then there's Kiriko. Oh, we're going to get to Kiriko right now.
an ultimate in the game meant I could ignore obstacles to red field and regen burst because I knew the DPS wouldn't be able to kill me.
Can't touch you.
Kiriko, having the most broken abilities and ultimate in the game meant I could ignore obstacles the rest of the cast had to deal with. Lifeweaver just pumping out raw healing while having the survivability of a tank. The list goes on. Support.
Okay. This is where I'm going to disagree when it comes to Lifeweaver. Lifeweaver. Okay, I'll halfway disagree. I feel like oh, this is so funny when it comes to Lifeweaver. I'm gonna bring up some things. I feel like Lifeweaver isn't as bad to kill as the other supports. I feel like a good Lifeweaver will never die. A really good one. But not a bad Lifeweaver, but like a decent Lifeweaver, whatever. They'll be too close to the fight. They would, they would put themselves in a position to die. AKA me. So, he just, if he's good, he's managing his grasp, he's managing his pedal platform and when to use his ultimate and his dash, he can live a pretty long time. And here's the other point with Lifeweaver that's so funny. A lot of people, including myself, complained about how Lifeweaver was released, about how his abilities work, how he had to switch between damage and healing. And here's what's funny. Here's what's funny. After they put in the correction, right? They put in the correction. Oh, not the ad. I'm gonna still finish my thought. They still put in the correction for his abilities. Like, oh, now he can shoot and heal with mouse or whatever. He doesn't have to switch between and da 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 da. He can dash on a jump. Everybody went back to the default way. All right, let me wait for the ad. Mm-mm-mm. Ten seconds. Okay, freedom. Okay, so yeah. Sorry, poor people only has rich views. Oh my god. If you have Amazon Prime, you can sub to me for free with your Amazon Prime. That way you don't get the ads. I can't control the ads. I tried. I literally reduced it last week, and then Riker tells me like 2 streams ago, oh, it was like how many? Like a you said it was long, like 6 ads or something like that. And I'm like, why are 6 ads playing? They're supposed to play every 30 minutes. So, anyways, so yeah, so the people that complained about Lifeweaver's original kit functions, they gave them the new kit functions, and then they people like all the like everybody that's like dedicated to Lifeweaver and people that like make guides, whatever, tell you to go back to the default. Like, anyways, but yeah, so I think Lifeweaver is kind of like a half and half. I feel like he is kind of hard to kill, but if he is putting in the work for it, other than that, I feel like Lifeweaver can get jumped quite often. Um, it just it just takes a little bit more. Like I don't think a support should be healed for free. Um, but like I feel like there is a give and take when it comes to going after Lifeweaver. If you let me know if you agree or disagree. That's just how I feel when it comes to him. Um, and his hitbox is kind of insane. But anyways, continuing.
Support became such an easy role, I could turn my brain off, watch a video on my other monitor, and still get value. It felt great at the time, but in hindsight, no character should be able to get away with what I was doing, and eventually I just got bored with the support role too. I couldn't even imagine what it must have felt like for a DPS player to go against so many powerful abilities given to the support role. That's when I decided to start playing DPS as well. I was never a DPS player because I know my aim just isn't good enough to provide enough value that my team needed, so I just stayed away from the role completely. But seeing how tank was miserable and support was just brain dead boring, I decided to play DPS after the hitbox changes. The amount of times where I would do a double take when I was playing Cass because I landed shots I definitely should not have was astounding. Blizzard's goal of making the game easier and more rewarding for shooting in a person's general direction felt great. For like 3 days. I started to learn Echo and found her to be the most fun.
That when he said that, it was like the heavens opened up and like I was being serenaded. The crap that I have been talking about Cassidy, like more and more people are realizing how ridiculously easy and oppressive Cassidy is more and more over time, but I feel like it's already too late. But hearing this specifically about him just made me, I was like, oh my god, I subscribed immediately. I subscribed to him immediately. Oh wait. Oh, it says I'm not subscribed. What? Why is that? I did. Anyways, my bad. I'm subscribed now. I did though. I did. It probably unsubbed me. But with Cassidy, okay. I had a game. It was one of my last games where I was playing with someone and I we were losing. I was playing Symmetra. I was playing who did I play? I played Symmetra. I played Venture. I played Tracer. Losing. It's like, okay. And then I went Cassidy. We won. I don't play Cass. Like everybody in my chat, most people in my chat and people that know me, I don't play Cass. I hate Cassidy. Hate him. But I played him because, screw it. The game is dead. Whatever. I'm not going to be playing it that much anymore. Let me play him. We won. It was crazy. I wasn't even trying to aim, and I was hitting, like, the enemy team had an echo. Pop, pop, out of the sky. Headshots. Pop, 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 pop. Oh, you're coming at me? Here's a mine that tracks you. Oh, you can't move? Pop. Oh, and I didn't kill you, but the mine will when you go behind that corner. Easy. Free win. And the person I was playing with, they were like, they looked at my stats and they were like, wait, you don't even play Cassidy. And I was like, exactly my point. He was playing Torb. We won Torb Cassidy. Like, it's insane. And ever since Overwatch 1, I kept saying it. People are like, oh my god, his ultimate is too slow. Oh my god, he's like a beacon. He always gets headshotted. You're not using Cassidy correctly. You're supposed to be freaking on the flank. Freaking when there's a huge team fight happening. Hey, pop your ult. People gotta look at you. Your team does something. Before they can touch you, you kill them. You don't even have to use the ult. People use it as a zoning ult. There was nothing wrong with that. It was ridiculous. And then people are like, oh, his role. I forgot who would say that all the time. His role does nothing. And I'm like, what? He still has an evasive ability. You're going to tell me that it does nothing? He rolls out of the way. You roll into something. Get good with the roll. Now he can just roll farther in air. Why are you making the character easier? They buffed his HP. Why are you doing that? This is a character that can literally 2 to 3 shot you. Ever since Overwatch 1, his flash, I've always said that. Make his flash an actual flashbang where it blinds you. Don't make it a stun because you can't move. Boom. You can't move. Oh, let me just line up my shot. Bum. And people, pro players, Overwatch content creators are gonna sit here and tell me that's skillful. What are you talking about? What are you actually talking about? And then you don't even have to hit the person. Just throw it at the floor. Bop. Oh, Reinhardt's shield. Throw it above the shield. Bop. Really? And now here I am, a support main, sometimes tank, but a support main. I play Mercy for the most part. I pick up Cassidy, I win games. That wasn't the only game I won just picking Cassidy. Like, out of my principle, I don't play him, but for those times where I was just kind of like, screw it, I won. That's absolutely ridiculous. That should never happen. It's not fair that he gets compensation for being in a bad position using his ult, in my opinion. Right. Because now he can just ult in the middle of anything, literally any time, and get value. How is that fair? Where is the counterplay? Where is the skill? And people to this day that are talking about Overwatch has skill, Overwatch does not have skill anymore. There's no skill. There's absolutely no skill with no character. Tracer, forget it. Everybody can play Tracer. Genji, everybody can play Genji. Like, the Overwatch community that's here has played the game long enough where they are good at they're at least a base level good with every hero. There is no skill. And even that, the skill ceiling has already lowered because they made it open with free to play. There's no skill. There's no skill for it. None. Bonk. Exactly. Oh, hold on. Why is Rook being weird? What's going on? What's with the Zaddy? Where's that coming from? His flash is an actual flash now. Wait, you mean now they changed it or something? I'm. Don't look down. Don't look down here. Y'all better behave. I need to get a sound thingy that's like, like behave or something like that, or like the freaking bonking thing or something. Let's continue. This is a 25-minute video. We're only 10 minutes in.
DPS character. I would play as much as possible until the enemy team would start counter-swapping and playing heroes that made it more difficult to get
It's
value.
not the vibes.
What it was like to play DPS against all the raw healing, high health pools, and immortality abilities. It was such an awful feeling. It eventually led to defaulting to a hit scan character in order to get any value from DPS. Because hit scan was much easier than projectile. Now I didn't say hit scan was easy, just easier in comparison to the projectile heroes. Every fight and exchange became the same loop. 2 tanks with 1000 HP blasting each other, supports pumping out heals, completely overriding any playmaking, and DPS just shooting down main with burst damage heroes and hoping the enemy doesn't use immortalities. With all the hitbox and health pool changes, Orisa,
Not hoping, praying to God. Praying to the actual God. For Bap or Kiriko to not have immortality.
Hog, and Mauga became the 3 most played tanks with insane HP and passive mitigation. And this felt way more egregious than any tank heavy comp ever was in Overwatch 1. The only difference between then and now is that now you get hit markers when you shoot the unkillable tanks, so you can pad your stats and flame your teammates, pretending you are doing a lot for the team. None of this was fun. On top of that, queue times are just as bad as they were in Overwatch 1, even at the middle ranks. I'm waiting at least 10 minutes for a game in gold DPS. Also, quick play fucking sucks in this game. Whenever I would wait for my buddies to get on so we would queue comp, I'd jump into quick play just to mess around. A quick play has gotten so much sweatier it defeats the entire purpose of the mode. People are counter swapping even in quick play and flame each other when things go wrong. Quick play in Overwatch 1 was way more relaxing and enjoyable. Why is quick play sweatier than comp?
This guy is awake. Like, hello? Doesn't he sound like you? Doesn't he sound like someone that actually plays the game? That's not in the clouds. That's not here for clicks. That's not like, I don't even know. I'm just like, oh my God. Time and place. Sorry, no. But like, literally, I'm like, quick play freaking sucks. And no one talks about it. No one talks about it. Like, hello? Why did I leave comp, which is supposed to be super sweaty and stressful, to play freaking quick play? Quick play, so I can lay back in my chair and do a little mercy healing action. And then I gotta stand up. I gotta sit up and pay attention because they're sweating their asses off. It's like, hello? Pure chaos coming soon. Comp was actually more interesting, but that's the problem. I don't play comps. But like, it came to a point where I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna play comp anymore. I'm gonna go back to. I'm not gonna play quick play. I'm gonna go back to comp because even though I gotta sit up and pay attention, it's not as bad as quick play. And here's the problem: comp sucks so much because of how balance works that all the comp people went to quick play, or most of them, because they want to win games. They can't win their games in competitive because they're bad and the game isn't fun. So they want to stomp on noobs that are trying to just have fun so that they can have fun stomping on noobs. That should not happen. I don't understand why competitive and why quick play. You see, I'm getting the two confused. Why does comp not have matchmaking? I mean, then again, I don't know. I don't know if comp should have matchmaking because it could make things worse. I don't know if it does. For sure if it does or whatever. But if they were to do the same thing with competitive, I feel like it would make things worse. But yes, comp should not be. Quick play should not be like that. Quick play is supposed to be quick play. You get on with your friends, you play for, shits and giggles, and you test things out. You do things there, and then you hone your skill in competitive. Like, quick play should not be the freaking preliminaries to comp. That's why most of the player base sits and custom games. Yes, they do. Oh my God. Custom games constantly full. All of them. And then every time you ask them, how come you're not playing the regular game? The regular game sucks. Trash. Absolute garbage. I can't play quick play. I can't play comp. I'm sitting in here. Plus, we have no PvE content. So we're staying in here. Or we're leaving. That's why the queues are bad.
I never cared for PvE, so I would play a maximum of 3 or 4 games when a new PvE event came out. I don't care much for cost.
We're at Overwatch. We hate each other. Who said that? That was so funny. Oh my god, that was so funny. We're Overwatch players. We hate each other. Oh goodness. Let me see if I can get this made as the types of people and their Overwatch heroes.
Cosmetics either, but the shop seems to be the only thing that was added to Overwatch 2.
The shop
The raid
was.
system, although better than the previous one, still is not as good as the old SR system. Overwatch 2 took away more features than they added, so now, what's the point of even calling it a sequel?
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I made this video in the first place is because I watch and listen to a lot of streamers and content creators in the Overwatch scene. I enjoy the conversations about how to improve the game because I played this game for so many years, I want it to be good as well. I want to be excited to log on again. But when it came to the 5v5 versus 6v6 conversation, things started getting really out of hand. Many 5v5 advocates argue that people who want 6v6 back are just blinded by nostalgia and rose-tinted glasses. Real quick side note, by the way, I need the Overwatch community to learn something new to say because I swear to God, a lot of you only heard of this phrase during these debates and use it for every argument like it's on your word of the day calendar and it's going out of style. It's not rose-tinted glasses for wanting a game that I actually had fun with back, compared to the miserable experience I'm having now that was forced onto me and I didn't ask for. A lot of these individuals saying these things are also talking about things that didn't actually happen at the average ranks, and we're speaking on behalf of and putting words in the mouths of players like me. And that is really what motivated me to talk about this. I'm definitely.
That is a huge problem in Overwatch, where content creators, competitive players are used to speak for the general public, and also a fault on the general public is that they watch these people and they literally take their word as gospel and do not have thoughts and do not think for themselves. They just don't think. They just believe that these people are right. Meanwhile, the game is constantly going down and down and down. Something else that I've always said since the beginning is that even though I believe the devs should have had like their foot down when it comes to certain things, for the balance and how characters should be and stuff like that, there are some things that needed to be looked at. There just wasn't enough of a balance back then. But it became an overturn where comments like back when Jeff Kaplan was on stage and he made a joke about how, like, oh, when you play your games and you have a Hanzo or a Widow and you lose, the crowd cheered. Because Hanzo, Sombra, Torbjorn, Bastion, Symmetra, etc. were bad, quote unquote, during that time. Instead of encouraging, this is our game, like in the Overwatch scene, this is our game. If you're gonna be an Overwatch full player, you need to be able to play every single one of these characters at the highest extreme. Therefore, when people can see that those characters can be played very well at the highest tier, that would encourage them to play those characters, and it would also reduce the toxicity of saying, "Oh, we like this character is trash. This character is trash." But they didn't do that because of stuff like that joke, and other stuff like back when Seagull freaking said, "Oh, Mercy with mass res. Sorry that you want to play hide and seek and not Overwatch," or whatever the heck the quote was. Stuff like that really brought down really brought down what Overwatch actually looked like. What Overwatch actually looked like. It really brought down the reputation, of Overwatch. Like when the game came out, these characters were fun. They were expressive. They were unique. People related to them, and that became a problem. Okay, you have a Symmetra one trick. So what? Let them try. I was always like, let them try. They paid $60 for the freaking game. They bought the game. Let them do whatever they want. At least let them try. You lose, okay, go next. Whatever. Cry about it for like 5 minutes. Play the next game. Like, oh my god, like, get over it. We'll focus on your own gameplay. Not gonna lie, Overwatch team was mad unprofessional at one point because they would make fun of Mercy mains all the time. They did. I remember that. I remember that. During Moth meta, oh my gosh. You see? Like, you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to do those things. And Moth meta, like, really looking at it back at hindsight for what they did to Mercy, that should have never happened. That should have never happened. Like, that whole rework of her kit and everything like that should have never happened. Making her such a powerful force as a support. They took away Mercy's reworked voice line. Yeah. They did. Her being Super Saiyan, it was so good. No, like the voice line was good, but yeah, making her making her a Super Saiyan was not good because it just took so many things balance wise away from what Mercy, you know, like okay, changing mass res, right? Okay, sure, like let's not have her hide and stuff. Okay, fine. Even though a bunch of other characters do this, Reinhardt hiding in the corner to shatter, Genji hiding so that he can do all characters in the game hid often at one point in order to get the ultimate off. That freaking thing should not have taken off the way it did. But making Mercy into this monster was not the answer. I felt like they should have taken their time. They should have done proper testing and really be like, okay, what can we do to keep Mercy counterplay wise and everything like that, without absolutely breaking her and making everybody pissed off. And it lasted for like more than a year, 6 months, 6 months to a year. 10 times faster, easy tempo reses, extra healing. She was fun AF. Though when she was like that, she was fun, but one person's fun, which is like one person playing that character, should not be at the detriment of everything else around them if there's no actual risk involved. She was unkillable. Like, mother. No, you're fine. You're fine. But I felt like after they did that change to her and stuff, it really just changed everything else in the game. And not only that, the Overwatch devs literally giving up their creativity as of now, because every character in the healing class that has come out are healers. Their job is to restore health. We have no expression, no uniqueness anymore, like back when Symmetra was a support. So because of those changes, making Symmetra a DPS and blah blah blah, or just another thing to the block of the issues in Overwatch.
Definitely not the most skilled player, but for a game that I was really invested in and want to see improve, it
Builder.
did not sit well with me when people tried to speak for people like me. And now, for my scorching hot nuclear take that a lot of people will not like. Overwatch 2 has become too accessible. It is far too easy to pick a hero and get massive value at the skill floor that everyone now thinks they're playing the right way by padding their stats, leading to too many differences in opinions and a lack of productive conversations. I stated earlier that I am not a DPS player, even lesser so a hit scan player. Anytime I would play DPS, I would choose projectile heroes. So for me to pick up casts and get insane value just by existing and pointing in a general direction should not happen when I very much know what my weaknesses are. I'm not saying that there shouldn't be easy heroes that anyone can pick up, but what I am saying is heroes that are that easy should not get immense value at all.
Pay attention to how they're just getting bullied by this freaking Orisa, bro. She's like, they're terrified.
Ranks just for existing. Punish windows are slowly being removed one after another. Moira being able to fade in Cole, Roadhog keeping vape and Whole Hog even when stunned, characters getting passive damage resistance or just flat out ignoring CC in general. These changes ignore the fundamentals of Overwatch and makes the game much less thought-provoking to play. Why am I getting punished with a 20% heal reduction on support for taking damage?
They're keeping her up. Oh my god, yeah. But what he just said there, like, why am I being punished as a support, healing less, just because DPS are doing damage. That's kind of insane. It really does make you think and bring some things into perspective.
Why am I getting punished for shooting a tank in the head and dealing less damage? These blanket passive changes are such oversights that don't affect each hero equally, and I'm tired of the argument that this is better than nothing.
This is better than nothing. Oh my god. And then tanks can't be booped. Da da da. And the thing is about like boops, I feel like boops shouldn't have been a tank. I feel like it was universal, even though it is like mostly on tanks. But I feel like boops were universally a problem. And why are boops doing damage? Why is Farah concussion, whatever it's called, doing damage? So you're gonna knock me to China and kill me. Lucio, heavy Lucios, and that's not even a shade. Like little, I'm throwing the actual shadow at you, Lucio. Like why? Lucio's boop does headshot damage. I literally I saw that Lucio did like a boop, and it did headshot damage. Why is that a thing? That should not be. Boop should not do damage. It should just boop. Just boop. You boop somebody. Okay, whatever. You boop them. You displace them. They should not take damage for that. When mine hits you, like Cassidy mine attaches you, should not do damage. I believe it does. What's it called? Hook should not do damage. What else? There's another. The sleep, even though it's 5, should not do damage. Why are these displacing, interruptive, CCing like abilities doing damage? It makes absolutely no sense. You're increasing it for no reason. You're increasing the damage pool for no reason. But his hook combo, I don't care. Hook was a problem to begin with. The one time they fixed Hog, oh my god, it was heaven. Hog had to play with his team. He could not go around by himself. It was beautiful. I played Hog during that time. It was so much fun. I hooked them, brought him into the team. Get him, team. Hog played with the team. There was counterplay with Hog because he could not go around doing whatever he wanted. And then, not even a week, everybody, even the big Hog, one of the big Hog players, 6, I believe his name is 6, CYX. Even he said at the time, I think he took it back, but at the time he said Hog is actually not that bad. A week later, this isn't Hog. This isn't Hog. You killed Hog. This is how Hog works. Hog lost his skill expression. Hog did his. And this is where like I gotta move the goalposts to the devs where it's like, man, we can't win. Y'all complained about Hog for years. We fixed him. And now you're saying he's dead? Because he can't do what he used to do?
Because that just means we are settling for mediocrity. This leads to a homogenizing of character designs and gameplay loops, where nowadays you never see crazy specialists anymore, aside from a few TikTok clips here and there. There are no more players like Shadowburn or EQO on Genji anymore, no Miro or Fisher on Winston, no Ryu Jae-hong or Jonax on support. It's become almost impossible to differentiate between who was really good at playing the game and who was good because of the game.
So that, again, with my previous point of why the devs did not, defended their characters and like not forced, but made it a standard for the competitive scene to like, you guys got to play all these characters. You don't have these specialists anymore. You don't have the Hanzo specialist, the Genji specialist, the Sombra specialist. I mean, you do. No, you don't, because Fitzy hasn't played in months. So, like, who remembers the first Lucio guy? Who remembers him? Like before Astro Kitty. DPS stank. Ow. Oh my god, you don't have these people anymore. DPS Stanky was the first person to leave. Oh my gosh. He was the first person to leave Overwatch. He saw it before any of us. I bet he's real happy. His vindication was everything. I'll wait. But yeah, you don't have these people. Not even Mercy. Not even Mercy. You used to have a really good Zen because back in the day, Zen did a lot of damage and stuff, but he was diveable. But a good Zen player, that didn't matter. There used to be a specialist person for Winston. Inspired a generation of annoying wannabe DPS Lucius. I'll never forgive him. Yeah, yeah, he did that. He really did. But a whole generation. That is so true. It's funny how like they don't even rep because like back in the day people be like, okay, you want to be DPS Stanky. He's been away for so long. They just say DPS. They just say Reddit Lucio. They don't even say his name. That's crazy. But uh like let me just give you guys an example for like how specialists worked. So there are tank busters like Reaper. Reaper is made to kill tanks like Winston, Diva, Zarya, all these tanks. The easiest tank for Reaper to kill was Winston. There was a guy, I forget his name, but he played Winston and he would put his bubble down and welcome back. And he would bubble dance. He would go in and out of the bubble, the shield, in order to mitigate damage from the Reaper and kill the Reaper. I want to do that. I want to do that. That is so freaking cool. Because I used to play Winston. I remember practicing like that to the point where I did it, and not only that, I barely died. Maybe like 1 to 2 times a match. If there was a diva, I would die way more. But that actual like looking forward to master this character in this way, to get good with this character in a way, just does not exist anymore.
And nailed the shots. Not many Widowmakers would go for this play.
Have a Pinewood,
And he just absolutely nails it here. Even to the machine gun. What a flick.
Are
and
you
another one.
serious?
Beautiful.
This guy's a living highlight reel, man. And NYXL gets some stability on the That's a bit more of a dosage.
This also leads to the skill of the general player base declining more and more as these abilities and changes continue to be implemented. Most of the player base is bad at the game, myself included, but making the game more accessible just by ignoring the fundamentals of the game does not nurture a competitive game. Every time the dev team put out an update blog or video and say that Overwatch is a highly competitive game, I have to laugh and wonder if we're looking at the same game, because all these passive benefits are detrimental to players improving. Overwatch itself is so much smaller than many other games that are popular nowadays. League of Legends, Fortnite, Apex, Valorant, you name it. These are games that are discussed far more often than Overwatch.
Colorblind's Bastion and Crow's Junkrat. I don't want to talk about them. I don't want to talk about them because, no, no, I can't give them that acknowledgement. Like specialists, I mean, it doesn't even matter as specialists. It doesn't even matter.
The only time when Overwatch is discussed in media is when they do something wrong. So already, Overwatch is at a massive disadvantage. Now, within the Overwatch community itself, the conversation has become so divisive between the community that we're now seeing language and arguments of comparing certain in-game communities to Andrew Tate fans, flat earthers, and page shills. The conversations happening about this video game is becoming comparable to online debates about politics, and it's so embarrassing I don't even want to be a part of it anymore. It's like the Simpsons meme, where the Overwatch community is the two monkeys fighting each other, while the rest of the gaming industry watches and cheers them on.
That is so true. Valorant players, Apex players, Fortnite players, literally it's so true. Every other game, every other one, like he said, when you like you play Overwatch, disgusting. You pig. You suck, bro. Like, You say I play Overwatch? Oh, no respect. None. None. That's just like, wow. That is so bad. And then like Blizzard wants to have the gall to be like, we got 400 million players. Okay, you have no scene, you have no community. I love it though. You love the discourse.
This isn't even about the game anymore. For some reason, it's gotten so intensely personal, it seems like people are more concerned about being right than actually compromising and finding ways to improve the game. But that can't happen when there are posts going around such as, how do we improve the game without talking about 6v6? Excluding a very viable option is counterproductive, and I don't know why we're acting as if 6v6 isn't an option. None of us even imagined 5v5 as an option, but since we're here now, we're acting as if we're not allowed to go back. This whole rules for thee but not for me mentality is a really good way to summarize these arguments. Additionally, the development team have been completely radio silent about this issue as well, and I'm very confident they are aware of the conversations taking place.
It would be embarrassing for them to go back to 6v6. They need to get over it. Let it be embarrassing. Take the L. Literally, please just take the freaking L. Just take it. Here. Quick. Grab it before I drop it. Take the L. Take the L. I mean, they don't have to go back to 6v6, like he's gonna say, I believe. Like, they don't have to. Like, but at least say it. We're not going back to 6v6. But we are gonna make some serious changes, you know? And everyone just going around, like he said, just saying 6v6 is just not an option. You're just wrong. You're literally wrong. And it makes no sense for why it can't be an option. You're literally refusing to compromise and to actually think of ways that can act. You're refusing to compromise and you're refusing to think of ways that can make the game better.
If Blizzard came out
Play
today
something
and
else.
said we are not going back to 6v6, that would be totally okay with me, because then I know the direction of the game isn't for me and I can move on. But by staying quiet, you'll leave a lot of people in the dark and unsure of its future. People aren't sure whether or not they should stick around or even believe that it can get better. I've seen many streamers having more fun playing games during their queues than playing the actual game. There are conversations taking place about big creators branching off from Overwatch and exploring other games and communities. And honestly, I really think they should, because I believe Overwatch has hit its potential a long time ago. The game doesn't respect the time and effort I put into it because I'm at the mercy of the balance patch and hero designs. The community scene doesn't seem to respect my time and effort either, because my feelings and experiences are being downplayed, watered down to being nostalgia-filled. And the content creator scene is just becoming high school cliques now. The game has nothing else to offer for me personally, so I would rather know for sure if 6v6 wasn't happening so I can move on to a different game, rather than twiddling my thumbs and hoping that the next patch will make my role slightly more fun because, let's be honest, in an asymmetrical format, balance is next to impossible. Look at games like Evolve and Dead by Daylight. Those games are also an asymmetrical format, where you would have 4 hunters or survivors versus 1 monster or killer respectively. If one side felt too strong, the other side had to be buffed, but then the same issue would repeat itself over and over. This is the issue that Overwatch is facing as well. You cannot buff one role without it coming at the expense of another. This is unironically on par with mobile game levels of power creep and balancing. In 6v6, this becomes easier to do. It's not perfect, it's not the end-all be-all solution to all of our problems, and it certainly will have problems as well, but it is way more manageable in an evenly numbered format than an asymmetrical one.
His the best, one of the best examples is Reaper. Reaper is a flanker, and yeah, he's a tank buster, but he's a flanker. I would say he's a light assassin. He will flank and try to get a kill. If he can't get a kill, he has to get out. And before, he would have to TP, and when he gets out of TP, he would get headshotted. And his Wraith didn't last that long for him to escape. Now because if you mess up or if you do it wrong at the wrong time, you get punished. You die. That's what's supposed to happen. You did not plan ahead. You did the wrong thing, and you died. Now, Reaper can TP. He receives. He's completely invulnerable even after he materializes. Like you'd have to wait like point whatever other second when he starts moving, and by that time his hitboxes have already shifted. You can't headshot him. You can barely kill him because he'll start shooting you, and he does more damage than you up close. He can basically TP in your face, probably get a kill, and completely wraith out. His wraith lasts so long where he becomes invulnerable, all the way up to he can get a health pack, all the way back to his team, get healed, and do it all over again. That's not supposed to happen. He should not be able to get in and out for free. He's not a dive character. The thing, his best change, I don't know why they took away souls, because when he kills somebody, he was able to take a soul. And there was a theory, I don't know if this was true, but if he took the soul and it healed him after he killed somebody, Mercy could not res that person, which would have been a really good thing. I don't know if it was 100% true, but they said I think they said it was gimmicky. I think it was fine. It made him unique in a way, and it helped him stay around longer instead of completely disengaging. So he was rewarded for his kill by healing. It was cooler and made his ult even better. I heard it was because it punished him when he didn't secure a kill. That's his fault. Get a freaking kill. Okay. You still have your Wraith. Get out. Like Torb scrap metal. Oh my god, my chair keeps sinking. I gotta figure out like how to fix that. But what was I gonna say? Yeah. So he's like one of the best examples of that, where they buff a character and then it completely changes how other characters deal with him, because he can do basically whatever he wants for free, and people get mad. Why are you letting him get away for free? I'm not, bro. I'm not. I cannot hit him because he's completely invulnerable right now. He's a ghost. Okay. You want me to chase him down? By the time I chase him down, he'll be healed and I'll get killed. Well, I did the deed, and now uploading Overwatch, the Overwatch heroes and the types of people that play them under 10 minutes. Okay, cool. Can't wait to see it. So yeah, the only positive change they did to Reaper was that, you know, when he did sneak, he was a bit quieter. That was the best change. That still aided him forward as a buff, and then did not affect how other characters dealt with him. That's funny, bro. That's funny.
I make this comparison a lot when I see games whose community is in flames. Final Fantasy XIV, for those of you who don't know, is a monthly subscription MMORPG and has one of the most incredible development teams and communities I've ever seen. I want to give a really brief breakdown of the game's history because I think a lot of companies today could stand to learn a lot from the steps Final Fantasy XIV took to improving their game. When the game first came out, it was a mess. The game was unintuitive, clunky, and a lot of designs made no sense. The lead developers were relying on the Final Fantasy name alone to sell the game. They did not look at their competitors, they rested on the laurels of their past successes, and ignored a lot of the community's outcry. Then comes in a replacement to the lead director by the name of Naoki Yoshida. Long story short, he came in, played the 1.0 version of Final Fantasy XIV, said it sucked, and gave Square Enix two options. One,
He was so
they either continue
brutal with
patching
that.
the mediocre game
And it
until it was
sucked.
no longer sustainable, shut down the game, and tarnishing the Final Fantasy name forever. Or two, take the L now, tell the community that the game sucks, apologize, and revamp the game.
No matter how much they patched Final Fantasy XIV Online, they couldn't ever fix it. What they'd have to do was something that no developer had ever done, to rebuild an entire MMO while the original version was still running.
I don't think that they realized immediately that it was something that couldn't be solved via patches. I think they still believe that, you know, if we patch it, it'll be fine. And it wasn't until they reevaluated and then brought in, you know, the new blood Yoshisan came in and told them, okay, yeah, this is not something that can be patched. If we want to fix this, we're going to have to take a drastic step.
So, like, is this Jeff Kaplan parallel? I think it is, because the Blizzard team have always been stubborn. But once again, it's that balance that they just could not find. And I feel like instead of taking the criticism and being creative with it, where it's like, okay, we hear the outcry for these problems. How does it affect everything? What can we do to implement it? Like, can this really not be like I felt like it was like they just heard it and they were like, no, we're not gonna do that. In a way that's good, but it's a balance. No, I'll wait for the video so that you can get the view. So but what I was trying to get to is that, like, when they like do these announcements, like recently, where they have these content creators that are coming, and the content creators, they have their opinions and stuff like that. And whenever they do these community changes and stuff like that, but it's just it's just a mode. I feel like they're not really, like, are they really listening? Are they really taking in consideration the changes that could make the game better? Or are they just doing it just because, and then once the month's over, that's it? Like, I really don't feel, because these people, the content creators, they come back and they're like, oh, we went to Blizzard, we had so much fun, da da da. And then, like, for that one day that they're being sponsored, or they've been flown out, or they're doing this thing, and then months after that, weeks after that, whatever, days, all that stuff, they're complaining and complaining and complaining and complaining. So that just tells me that you guys are not really being listened to. They're not really listening to you. If they're not listening to you, they're definitely not listening to us.
Plan A and Plan B. During this meeting, he explained that Plan A would be to patch the game and make it more playable, but that ultimately the game would never really satisfy players, and though Square Enix may make their money back, the damage to the
I'll be on for a bit.
would be catastrophic.
Seeing as they didn't have much of a choice, the company chose the latter. They kept the original game online and patched it while working on a new 2.0 version of the game, and it has now become one of the most successful MMORPGs in the gaming sphere. This decision was very much a gamble, and no modern day company would take it, but I wanted to bring this up because it can work, and it starts at the top. Even though I spent all this time talking about the game, my history and passion for it, as well as my experiences, I've gotten to the point where I'm not even angry or frustrated anymore, because that would mean I still had passion for Overwatch. But I just don't. The opposite of love is not hate, it's apathy. And honestly, I think that's the point I'm at right now. For so long, I wanted to hold out for this game to be what I loved. Patch after patch, season after season, but now, with everything I spoke about in this video, I'm just tired. The game...
Literally me. Literally me. And I'm there. I was there before, and I'm there now.
It's a soulless and hollow shell of what I loved, and it's being treated like nothing is wrong. The community of passionate and competitive players is dwindling. There's just nothing left to get excited about anymore. We don't get cinematics or origin stories. Ranked rewards are awful and way overdue. Most of the decent skins are put behind a paywall. The list goes on and on. I hope I'm proven wrong and this game really does become good and enjoyable again. But I'm just tired of the journey that seems to be leading to nowhere. I don't think the game will die at all, but if we continue on this path, I fear that this game is just doomed to settling for mediocrity. If you still enjoy this game, that's totally fine. I have no problems with that. This is just how I feel, and I don't want anyone else speaking for me. I mentioned earlier that the only way to enjoy this game seems to be checking if your role or hero is overpowered, and if not, just wait for the next patch, as if you're being paid or bribed just to play this game. So, before...
Guys, Pink Mercy is back. Play our game. And she has a rose gold version. Symmetra and Life, we've got skins too, guys. Guys, play our game. Play our game. Give us money and play our game.
Before I wrap this up, I just want to leave Blizzard with one question. If the world could always use more heroes, why are you making one for mercenaries? If you made it to the end here, thank you so much for listening to the ramblings of a mediocre Overwatch boomer. It really does mean a lot. This is just a culmination of my frustrations with the game over the years, and I just reached my breaking point with holding out for this game and wanted to put my thoughts out there for others to hopefully relate to. I'm still quite new to content creation, and by no means do I consider myself an Overwatch creator, but if you still enjoyed, I'd really appreciate if you liked and subscribed. I also stream on Twitch every night where I play a lot of different RPGs. I'd totally be down to talk about Overwatch if you decided to stop by, but for now, thank you for watching, and I'll talk to y'all soon.
Oh, my like stayed. Why did my subscribe leave? But anyway, so that was Khai Shinryu, of his thoughts on Overwatch. I think he did a fantastic job, literally encapsulating the actual experience of an actual Overwatch player that's not influenced by being in the spotlight or in the competitive scene, like an actual genuine Overwatch player. Like, that doesn't mean to discredit those, but as the majority, I feel like this is the experience. And he did a really good job encapsulating that and explaining that and sharing his thoughts. I think he did a great job. He is a small creator. He has 373 subscribers. So if you want to check it out, please do. I think he did a really good job. So that was that. That was my thoughts on the matter. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. That was for YouTube. We're gonna start the Nintendo Direct now. Does anyone have anything else to say? I feel like that's just a matter of the fact, you know, freedom. Now we're gonna watch the Nintendo Direct. Okay.